Oh, why did somebody tell me about my hair? Damn. You know what you should do? I'm Gizz Lazlo. Welcome to our show. As you can see, we got somebody so much better looking than my co-host Paul. So Paul's sick today and called in and said, I got cough. So he's not here. So it's gonna be a great show. Got nobody just bullshitting and making this show worse than it already is. But today we're just gonna go straight into it. And we got my dear friend Noah Green from The Pretty Flowers and Junior Juggernaut.
Yep.
Any other bands you're in right now?
No, just those.
Just
two.
you?
Yeah. I played a little bit of a reunion show with my old a band I used to play with called Henry Clay People. And we did a few songs at the Fable beginning of last week. So then we haven't played for a very, very long time.
How long?
Let's see. I want to say 2011. I mean, I guess we played 2011. We played sporadically, once every few years. But I think there's probably been it's probably been 8 years since we played a real show.
Just really bad at math. 20, maybe 11 years. Oh man. So let's start from the beginning. How old were you when you discovered music and it was you know what? Was it I want to be a musician, or was it just about music and then maybe I should do this?
I mean, I always liked music a lot. My dad, my family was we're big music fans. My mom had a pretty good voice, and she was a singer. I mean, she didn't really sing with the band, but my dad had a band, and he would always jam with guys that he was friends with, and so they would practice in our house and stuff. So there was a lot of music growing up. My dad was a drummer, and he had he was in a band at a garage rock band, what's that comp of all the garage rock bands? The Nuggets. He's in Davis, California. He was in a garage rocky band in high school. They were called the Cornerstones, and they never recorded anything, but they toured and they played some really good shows. They played with the Beau Brummels, and my dad on Facebook, one of the other members of the Cornerstones, found all this archival stuff of all these photos of these shows that they played. And there's just all these old flyers and stuff, and their old van that they just painted that they had painted, and but I think they never really toured. They just played some shows in California and stuff. And
I think they traveled.
They traveled out of town, and they got some good shows. They played my dad played. I think they played with gosh, I'm blanking on the Summertime Blues. Blue. Jeez, what are they?
Blue Oyster Cult?
Not Blue Oyster Cult. One of Mike's favorite bands.
Mike has 100 favorite bands.
Blue Cheer.
Blue Cheer.
They played with Blue Cheer, and he knew some of the guys from Blue Cheer. But they never recorded, and I really wish they would have recorded at least a single or something.
That is something every band that I've ever been in. Well, I would say 98% of the bands I've been in, I'd like to record with, at least one song, because there's that. Then you have that history, that a little part, that you've done. A lot of the bands, the three main bands that, the big bands that I've been in, subs, I have video and I have live recordings of us, and at least I have that.
Yeah, I know.
With Dr. No too, live recording that Brandon hates, and every time I run into him, take it down because it's up on what is it, on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
I don't like it, take it down. It was my first song and my first show with the band.
Yeah.
So of course, I'm even it's my SoundCloud is my resume.
Yeah.
And then the Freeze I got to do a record with.
Yeah,
I'm good.
That's right. They my dad said that they got they played at some fair, or they won some like battle of the bands or something, and they got some like scammy thing to get them in a recording studio. Because I mean, this was like mid 60s, late 60s. It's like very expensive to like, you couldn't just go in. I mean, it was not cheap to just go into a recording studio. And so they said that they won some like some contest. It was like, you get recording for free, but it was like they had to pay. They wind up having, he said that he thinks they went into the studio and recorded, but then they were going to charge them like a shitload of money to like actually get the recordings. And then they weren't going to like put them out. So
I remember the first record, like legitimate record that I ever, played on, it was like $50, this is, the mid 80s. So like $50, an hour to record, which is like, you prepare, okay, if we do 4 hours, it's a couple $100. Then you get there and it's like, all right, it's another $60. We got to go get the tape. You got to buy your tape. Like, all these add-ons. But those early recordings when you had to do, you had 16 tracks to play with. Those. What was the first time you recorded?
I want to say, so there was like I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and there was a guy who was put in, some like high school kid. I don't know if he was like a trust fund kid or not, but he had like, he was putting together a comp of like all these bands in like around Mill Valley, and like who were either went to Mill Valley High School or were like lived around Mill Valley, and he was friends with my really good buddy named Lucian, and Lucian was a really great songwriter, and he was like I always just felt like he was like really advanced in like what he was doing, and like he wrote, we were way into just like pop punk stuff, and like Lookout Record stuff was like really, really huge for us. But I want to say we were like freshmen in high school. We went to different high schools, but I think when we were freshmen, like the guy putting together the comp was like, do you guys want to come in and record? And Lucian had this song, and I wasn't a drummer. My dad was a drummer, but I kind of resisted playing drum, and I was like never really a drummer at all. But I would I would just like mess around with drumming when my dad's drum kit was set up occasionally, and I just wound up playing drums and bass, I think, in this little recording studio in Sebastopol or Sausalito. There's like some tiny little, it might have been like it was a really small cramped studio that like the live room was just tiny, but we just recorded stuff on different tracks. I think I just played like really bad drums. And then there was a comp that came out, and it had like 20 songs on it, and it was like all these bands that just exist. I think a bunch of these bands that just had like only existed for like those songs that were on this comp. And there was just as many bands on it, and I remember being on that, and then the comp came out on, I saw it on Discogs a while back, but it was called Better Dead Than Red. It was like, but not the No Idea comp.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Better Red Than Dead. This is Better Dead Than Red, I think. So but it had like this whole communist theme, and it was like really made not a lot of sense, but it was super fun. And that was the first time I was in a studio. Geez, probably like 93, 4, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like the first time I was in the studio that I remember.
Those are I think the coolest memories is the first time in a recording studio. Everything's so new and fresh. And back then, like we were talking about, everything was on tape. I remember from there, like 2-3 records later, it was the very first time that we were doing 16 track on tape and Pro Tools at the same time, and trying to get that,
Yeah, this must have been tape. I don't remember the recording process at all, but
and that was around the same time, 93, 94.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I was, I think I was just, it must have just been a few hours in the studio, but the band was called the Philistines. And I think we spelled it wrong.
PH?
Well, it's the PH. We had like, I can't even remember how we misspelled it, but we just kept it misspelled. And then we did one original song called Apathy. And then for some reason, we covered the Silver Spoons theme song. We did that. That was very, very, very funny.
Rick Schroeder?
Oh yeah, Ricky Schroeder.
Ricky Schroeder. Wow.
We did that.
Silver Spoons.
And yeah, so that was my first experience. But yeah, growing up, my parents were pretty musical, and my dad was very supportive of just whatever I was listening to, and he took me to the first concert we went to was Tom Petty and Tom Petty and Lenny Kravitz. I know that was the tour that the Replacements were on, because it was a Full Moon Fever tour, and I know the Replacements were on another leg of that tour. So but we got Lenny Kravitz, and
it's not bad.
It's not bad. I'm sure it was all right. But I do remember Tom Petty was pretty great, and my dad always liked Nirvana. I got to see Nirvana a couple times with him. And he took me to some, and there was a lot of local bands that I was like really into. There was a band, I grew up in a town called Novato, and there was a local band called Nuclear Rabbit, who was very it was like 5-string bass, and it was like very like Mr. Bungle Primus, Mr. Bungle influenced, and like really obnoxious music, like that really is like really hits like middle school. When you're in middle school, you're like, this is like the greatest fucking band. I can't believe I live in the same town as this amazing band. But my dad would take me to their shows at like Berkeley Square, and like when they would have all ages shows. So it was cool. I got to see some cool stuff, and and so I got to see some really good bands, and what else?
Which was the band that like did it for you, where you're like, okay?
I want to say it was Nirvana was like, I think I saw Primus was like my gateway into like kind of like indie, like non-mainstream music.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked Primus. Was like a great band for that, like a real like gateway of like weird, like doing weird stuff, but also kind of like goofy, but like they were great. And I really loved the Sailing Seas of Cheese album, and like the what was it, the covers EP was really great. They do that really good XTC cover, the making plans for Nigel, on there. But yeah, I think seeing Nirvana was probably like a really great like thing when I was just like, this is great. I still didn't feel like when I saw them, it wasn't like, oh, like something opened up and it was like, this is something that I can do. It still felt like they were like this huge, inaccessible band that was like, I can't do that. Like they're on this huge stage.
Yeah.
They're like selling thousands of tickets, and like it just didn't feel like there was a line attainable thing.
Yeah.
Like it just did not feel like it was a thing that I could do. But so, and I really didn't play a lot of music in high school. I started playing bass. I really liked playing bass because it was kind of easier. And I had some bass lessons and stuff, and I tried playing guitar, and like I think I just like playing bass more. So I was just kind of like, I'll just like stick with this. And then after high school, I kind of moved up with my friend Lucian. We moved up to Seattle, and we sort of tried to start a band up there after a while, but it was like
Everyone was dead.
It just didn't
Or
like
dying.
No, it was just like it was like such an unwelcoming scene for like if you're under 21, because it was like they had this ridiculous thing called like the teen dance ordinance. Like it was like left over from like the late 70s or something, where it's like you couldn't have a show where or you if you were underage, you couldn't be in a venue that served alcohol. Like, so there was like no places to see shows. And we were living up in Seattle. It was just like, it, there was one venue called, what was it called? Rock Candy. And that was like the only place. Like, I saw some good shows there. Like, I saw All, and I remember that was I think the first night I moved up to Seattle, there was All, Hagfish,
Oh my
and
God. I haven't heard
like
that
All,
band in a long
Hagfish,
time.
and someone else.
Who was singing for All at the time?
Who
Was it
who would
Scott or was it Chad already?
I don't this would have been 98.
Yeah,
So
probably Chad, I think. Was already-
maybe, yeah. I can't remember that well, but yeah, it was just like the all ages shows there were just like really few and far between. And so if there's someone we really wanted to see, like they were most likely playing at like a 21 and up club or bar, and so we would have to go up to Vancouver, Canada. We'd have to cross the border either before they played Seattle or after whatever band it was, and go to there was a venue we went to called the Starfish Room that was really amazing in Vancouver. But the drinking age was 19, so we could go see shows, and we just like stay at a hostel and go see shows. But I remember going up to see Superchunk and Archers of Loaf and Creeper Lagoon and like Elliott Smith, really
Oh,
good, really
wow.
Amazing Elliott Smith show.
I got into Elliott Smith very late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Th-
And
this was-
I think you'd already passed by the time
Oh,
I got
okay.
into him.
Yeah, he was pretty,
Yeah.
pretty amazing. And that show was really, really good. They someone on Reddit had like posted I found a bunch of photos, like black and white photos that I had taken of that show, and they came out really good. And I was like sharing them with like an Elliott Smith like Reddit group, and someone's like, oh, someone has a bootleg of this on Bandcamp, and they posted and I was like, oh yeah, that like it was all kind of coming back to me. It was like, oh, this is really great. And I remember there was like a time where there was somebody in front of me who like there was a young girl who like who just like passed out, and they stopped and Elliot like stopped the show, and they got like medical attention for this person, and like you can hear it on the recording too. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that. But yeah, we would go. It was we'd have to go up to Vancouver in order to see shows, pretty much. But it was a fun time, and it was cool.
What year was your first show? Do you remember the venue, band, and
that I went to?
no? Did you play?
Oh, that I played. Yeah. So yes, I don't remember the name of the venue actually. It was in Orange County, but it was with. I didn't play like bass for a really long time. I didn't play I didn't play in a band for a really long time. And then when I went to UC Irvine, I was in a writing class with my close friend now Andy Ciara, who was in a band with his brother called Henry Clay People, and this was like probably 2000. This was 2006, and one of the writing assignments was like was talking about music lyrics or something, and I think I did something on. I just wrote a line from like some X song. Actually, we were talking about X before, and then Andy wrote something about the band Pavement, and I was a big Pavement fan. And everybody in the class, including our teacher, were just like big squares. And like I was like, oh, someone likes cool music, and we like chatted like the first like it was like that day. We were just like chatting after class, and Andy got a call from his older brother who was in the band with him. I was like, oh, we just fired our bass player, or our bass player just quit, or something like that. And Andy's like, I think I might know somebody who might play bass. And he's like, do you play bass? I was like, I have a bass. I haven't played in a long time. He's like, you want to join? You want to jam with us? Play like, do you want to play bass with us? And I was like, sure. And so I wound up playing with Henry Clay People. And I think a week later, there was a show, or a couple weeks later, that they had booked, and it was with the band Wheatus, the teenage dirtbag band.
Uh-huh.
And that was somewhere in somewhere in Orange County. It was like some small, I don't even, it wasn't like it was like some art space or something. I can't even remember where it was, but somewhere small capacity. This was like before Wheatus had any kind of like uh, resurgence with like Teenage Dirtbag, and it was like they were definitely like not, people still thought they were kind of a joke, and so they booked the show. We somehow got on the bill, and like there was like barely, there was like 15 people there the whole night, and I had the bass that I had, just like this practice bass that it was like broken, and like nobody had a bass that they could lend me, so I had to use this bass that was like the volume knob was like totally broken, like the wood is like it's like the wires are like hanging out of it, but it somehow worked. It was like some Ibanez bass or something. It was like some really embarrassing bass to play with, but yeah, that was the first show we played. It was sometime in 2006 with opening for Wheatus, Henry Clay People.
2006 was your first show?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I played some, like, just some in high school. I had some of my friends, they like, I did not like ska music, and they were like really big. I was like reluctantly in a ska band that was like trying to do like, I would really hate doing the upstroke, the skanking thing, and I was just like, I would like kind of refuse to do that. So I would just do like the punk power chords like around it. But yeah, we had played a couple like birthday parties and stuff like for friends, but like we were like called the parking lot cowboys, just like trying to make fun of in Novato, where we went to high school. There was just like there was all these guys who thought they were like cowboys, and they were just like they had like big old like monster truck kind of things, and it was just really kind of surreal. But they would just hang out in this fucking parking lot, and we were just like, you guys are really lame. And so we just called ourselves the parking lot cowboys, because that's what they were. And yeah, so in high school, that was kind of the extent of it, was just playing a couple shows with friends. And then 2006 is like when I started playing with Henry Clay People, and recorded with them for like 3 albums, I think. And yeah, that was cool. I wasn't really able to do like they got a couple national tours. They got some like really good national tours. They toured with Silver Sun Pickups, and they toured with Against Me. Actually, the Silver Sun and Against Me might have been the same tour, but they and Airborne Toxic Event. But they were on TBD Records, which was like, I think like Dave Matthews Band. Like Radiohead was on it, but also there's some Dave Matthews Band connection. But they did some national tours, and I was kind of like not able to do those national tours. But when they would come back to LA, I would kind of play with them as kind of like an auxiliary member.
From there, did you start?
Yeah, so they when they were kind of like out on national tours, I kind of was writing. I had my own songs. Like in Henry Clay People, I sang. I wrote a couple. I wrote like 3 or 4 songs and sang a few of them. And I had kind of always been like writing songs. And then like I think when they were like out on tour or something, I was just kind of like recording on GarageBand at home, and so I kind of had these songs, and like I think one of them ended up on one of the last Henry Clay People album that came out in 2011, I think, called 25 for the Rest of Our Lives. And yeah, and then I just kind of they kind of broke up, and then I just kind of kept writing songs and kind of was doing more of a less of a home recording project, and kind of was encouraged to do like a band with the original bass player, Matt Cowan, kind of really wanted to kind of play the songs and start a band. And so the original band was of Pretty Flowers was me and Matt Cowan, and then Jeff Electric, actually. So he played drums, and so we jammed a bunch. And then I think by the time we started to play a show, which our first show, I don't know, was like 2013. That was at somewhere in Hollywood. I'm trying to remember what it was. That had like an outdoor, outdoor stage. But by the time we played our first show, Eli Reyes was the drummer, and so so that was like our first. That was our first show.
You're the guitar player.
Yes, singer and guitar player.
I remember when the first time we played together was at the Sardine.
Yeah.
Cutlass Supreme was on that show, I believe.
Cutlass Supreme.
And you guys.
Yeah.
That is the first time, like after watching you guys, because we played, first, and then you guys did your thing. And at the end of that night, I remember going up to Lewis and saying, you know what? I'm okay with this being described or being called an indie band. I go, because I finally get it.
That you guys were indie? They called you guys an indie or us an indie?
No, we were getting called, because those are our first shows together. And you guys are an indie band. I love indie rock and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, we're a fucking punk band. We're a punk band. And then like after that show that night, because of you guys and Cutlass, I was just like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because it's dark. Like
I feel like that's a compliment. I think you guys have a definite Sam I Am influence. They were like a huge band for me. But like to call them just like a pop punk band is does not do them justice. I don't think so. It's there has to be something.
Sam I Am. I remember more. Obviously I've been a Sam I Am fan from the beginning, and knowing those guys before they were back when they were on New Red Archives, and like
that's way back.
Yeah, and my bands. Lazlo and Bad Down Boys were on the same label. We shared a lot of the same equipped bands in Europe because we were, part of the same, circle. But I never got to play a show with Sam I Am. But I, ran into the guys all the time. And it was all pop punk rock. And, it was the first time emo was I had ever heard. There wasn't even a screamo yet. But it was like, oh yeah, they're an emo band. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, emotional, punk. I get it. But then, a few years later, when there was an actual legitimate scene of emo, like everybody with their eye covered with their, black,
that does not sound
lipstick and nail polish, and it was like
very hot topic.
Yeah, definitely. And like I was like, I don't want to, especially at that time. It was always, I've always been in punk bands. So to start, with Foreclosure there's 5 punks in this band, but the music's definitely not, high energy at all. And I was very uncomfortable with that indie label. But when I saw you guys, especially you guys, because like the Pretty Flowers, like, oh fuck, what is this gonna be? And not at all what I was expecting. And I'd known who you were because people, everybody,
we have some friends,
mutual friends, but I never got to see you. And then, seeing that, and then a few weeks later, I saw you guys with Junior Juggernaut, playing bass, and I was like, wow, look at this guy's all over the place. And then we got to tour. I remember our first show was in Bakersfield. Bakersfield Sound Company.
The Sound Company. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I remember you guys getting off stage, going into the green room. I was like, dude, you guys like our hairless metal band, because you guys are so metal, and and you got the progressive loss of hair,
for sure.
Mike thought it was funny, but he didn't. And that's also the first night when you guys were sound checking, and I'm like, hey Mike, can you turn it down? I don't do that shit. Whoa, all right. I just poked the bear.
In my bands, I don't have to wear, or in Pretty Flowers, I don't have to wear earplugs all the time, but for Junior Juggernaut, I
Got to double up.
I have to, yes, definitely have to wear earplugs. It's
Earplugs,
yeah,
gauze,
Yeah, yeah.
headphones, helmet.
yeah. Mike's always like, "How about 2 Marshall stacks?" I'm like, God.
I don't think you played that show. They played in Glendale.
Yeah, I was not at that show.
And Mark played,
Mhm.
and I was sitting behind Mike's amp.
Oh, you told me about
And
this.
it was so loud, but I was glad it was going that way,
Uh-huh.
you know. And then the owner came over and he turned down.
He
his
snuck up
amp.
behind while he was playing.
And then he noticed it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, you know your sound, and he's like, "What?" And he goes over there and he looks at it and he goes, "Did you do that?" And I'm like, "Nope, but I know who did." And after the song, he made a joke about it, like,
Uh-huh.
you know, "Hey, you know, you're lucky. I love you, Gizz, or I'll fucking kill you for touching my shit." And I go, "I didn't touch it." And Mark even said, "No, it was the owner." And he looks over at the bar and he's like, "You motherfucker, don't ever touch my shit again." I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah,
Like,
he was pissed. There was anger retelling the story.
oh, man. And then I just recently saw you guys. Oh, at Harvard and Stone.
Oh yeah,
And
the Junior Juggernaut.
yeah, and I walked in and I saw Mike and he looks at me, gives me my hug, and he goes, "Hey, don't fucking touch my hand tonight." I'm like, hey. You know me, I would never touch your amp.
Oh, that was so actually that other band that played there, Near Beer.
No,
The singer Joey was the singer of Henry Clay People.
really?
Yeah. So that was
Oh,
a bit of
there's a little bit of history right
Yeah.
there. I that's what I love about, like, you know, punk rock is like all of us are whores.
yeah. It's
You know,
it's
we're
very
always
incestuous.
we're
Incestuous
we-
whores.
You know, especially in recent years, I've like taken all my catalog and, you know, done a good job of, you know, okay, these are the projects I've done,
Yeah.
bands I've been in, and you know, I've been in almost 70 fucking bands.
Wow.
In 40 years.
All right, do you update Discogs and stuff? With
Well,
your
not
profile
Discogs. No, I just do it for myself,
Okay.
and it's on my Facebook. You
Uh-huh.
know, the
Yeah.
years that I was in these bands, and you know, there's like quite a few bands that you look at the years. It's like, yeah, 93 to 96, 98 to 2000, and then, you know, so I was like, oh, you know, I kept going back
Yep.
to record or whatever. But I hate it when bands, you know, there's a certain band that I'm thinking of in my head, and I went on tour with them back in 2011. Like, we were on this, you know, the same, you know, 3 bands touring together, and they would always every night, "Yeah, we've been together 30 years." Like, dude, you guys were together 2 years and broke up for like 16, you know, and then now you're back, and then now I've been
How many
20
albums
years.
do they have?
1. Yeah, like, no. You don't get to claim you've been together 30 years. You know, come on.
Yeah, that's a bit of a reach.
Yeah, like, you had 2 good years, and that was it.
Yeah.
1 record.
6 albums, maybe you can get away with 30 years.
Yeah. You know, I was in Lazlo for exactly 20 years, 1990 to 2010, and I quit.
Mhm.
But I came back 3 years in a row for reunion shows,
Yeah.
1 or 2
Yeah.
reunion shows a year. So I you know, I'm like, I was in the band for like 25 years, you know.
Mhm.
30 is when it finally fell apart and it was laid to rest. But I don't count those years as, you know, I wasn't in the band for 30 years, 25 maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I would joke around too, like, you know, how many records did you record? 20 records. We did one every year. My bass player would always say, "Well, I only got 2 of those." But again, I think the most important part of being in a band is definitely the recording process and touring. If a band can make it, like, to me, success is if you go to a different city or a different state and you're gaining, you know, fans or you know, followers that, you know, people really dig your music. That to me, that's what success is.
For sure.
You know, how hard is it to play in LA and get 20 of your friends
Yeah.
to go to the show? You know,
Yeah.
Especially, hey, free beer. I used to do that a lot back in the early days. "Oh, dude, it's free beer. You know, come to the show, free beer." They go, "Oh, Gizz says free beer." He's lying. I said, I would always tell him, "I didn't say inside, in the van. There's free beer in the van."
I should try that.
What do you? Is there a show that you can think of like where you're like, oh God, this is horrible? Like either because
Like from the beginning, or just like
of all time, like all the years you've been playing, like because of your musicianship or somebody in the band or something weird happened. What's the weirdest thing?
Jeez. I mean, there's like, the closest thing that's coming to mind is like when we played at the Redwood Bar, and like I was feeling, this was not too long ago, but like the sound in there on stage can be pretty good. Like it can be all right, but it's like so different from what is either out in the audience or like what you can see on the video that they post. And like
and is this the old stage or the new stage?
the new, well, I guess this would be the new stage.
Okay.
But it's the same thing, because the old stage, it's like you see what's on, like when they post the video of like on YouTube, it's like just vocals, and it is like so defeating. Like I remember thinking, like getting off stage and being like, oh, that felt so good. Like it felt like that was just like a really good show. And then watching, and then you're hearing just like an unedited, untreated, like no vocal, no like reverb or anything on your vocals, and
straight.
It's just your voice is like 10 times louder than the rest of the band that is like barely audible. And like that is just like, there's like interviews, or there's like things that I've done like playing live that I just can't listen. I just can't do it. I just can't listen to it. Like I can't. And so it's like there's some live recordings that I really like, but Redwood, where it's just like not mixed at all for the live stream. It's like,
yeah,
it's pretty bad. It can be pretty bad.
So the way you just said that makes me think of something else. Obviously we're both singers. So when you record your vocals,
yeah,
like, okay, you do your first run, you run through and you listen back. Are you good there, or are you okay? I got to double this before I can actually hear myself.
So I do a lot. I always do vocals with Jake, who's our guitar player, and he's like our engineer, mixer. And he's really, we have a really great relationship, and it's just like I'll just do it. He has like a lot of really good suggestions. I can tell if something is like not good, but it's like, we'll just keep going, and it's like until it's right. And it's usually, I can usually get stuff within a few takes. I think it's like, I don't usually, I mean, if it's a song that I'm just kind of like not used to singing, it's like, I usually go couple lines, and then
drug wise,
no, but or one phrase at a time, one line at a time, and then yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
And then it usually doesn't take a super long time for vocals, but I do get kind of worn out if like I'm not trained with like vocals like at all. So
when we go to the studio, it doesn't matter who I'm singing for. As soon as I finish that first vocal track, and, hey, you want to check it out? And I go into the control room, listen to it. It's like, I always cringe. Everybody was like, dude, that was pretty good take. I go, I just hate my voice single, just there, especially with no effects or anything on it. I hate my voice. And you don't have to put any effects on my voice. Just let me double it. Yeah. And as soon as I double, then I'm like, okay, there it is. Yeah. That's my voice. I can listen to it.
I do usually double. I do usually double my voice on tracks.
I was honored because you sent me the new album a few days, well, actually a few months before it came out, and I remember sitting in my studio listening with my headphones on, and I was just like, this is amazing. I love your voice, and your songwriting is amazing. And I remember there was a couple of tracks that I would listen to him and I was like pissed off. And I was like, what the fuck? Why am I mad? Like it's not the words. And then, oh, I know what it is. It's really that good.
Oh, there was a review that said something very similar recently on I buy way too many records. That the guy said it's so good it makes me angry.
It did.
I guess we have that effect on people.
It was weird because not that I was expecting something different. I what I was expecting I did here, but it was just like it's brilliantly put together. And again, like I'm a fan, and just listening to your voice is like, man, this is good. It's like there's nothing forced. Everything just sounds perfect. Everything is where it should be, and like especially nowadays, like with a lot of bands, there's you could tell there was one person in the studio mixing that record, and it's probably them. It's like, yeah, my vocals need to be up there, or yeah, my guitar needs to be up there, my bass, the drum need to be cranked. There's always something that's just like, oh, man, come on, you didn't hear that,
Well, I'm not like a super confident singer, like at all. I just kind of like especially live, I kind of just make peace with things and just like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And if I, I'll do what I can do. And like, that's it. If I like hit some bad notes, like it's just the way it's going to be. But on the record, I think my vocals are at least pretty clear. If they're not like super high, I mean, I guess they're not super high in the mix, but they're very audible.
Right there,
They're right there.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of modern punk stuff that is like, or indie stuff that is kind of like pretty low or buried or whatever. And I'm just kind of like, whatever, warts and all.
Well, like I told you earlier, driving here today, my lady, every Monday when my lady picks me up to come here, she always hands me her phone. Okay, what do you want to listen to? And today I had a tough night last night. And I was like, I don't really want to listen to anything right now, and she don't listen to Pretty Flowers. And I go, you know what? Yes, I do. Yeah, I want to listen to that one more time before we get there. And as soon as the first song, I was just like, oh man, I remember the song, listening to it the first time, going, this is badass. And then when it got to, I think it was the first single was Came Back Kicking. When that song came on, I was just like, dude, the harmonies are fucking just phenomenal, man. It's just like they're just so, it takes me back to the first time I heard the Doughboys,
Nice.
and bands like that. To those true harmonies, and it's just executed so well, and perfect.
Sam, our bass player, and Jake, guitar player, they do a lot of the harmonies on there, and a lot of the background vocal. Yeah, live too.
Really?
Yeah,
they're
great. They really help me out, and they do a great job. And they also are playing some complicated stuff, so they have to figure out where they can actually sing, and like when there's a gap in like something complicated to be playing that they can actually sing to. They work those out a lot.
That's always fascinated me about guitar players who are singers, is that I know for a drummer, I'm a drummer singer, so I can just be hitting and sing. Sometimes
Do you have the mic? Do you have the
I
drummer
did
sing?
back in the early 90s when I was originally the singer for Lazlo. I had the Madonna thing. It was a Realistic though. Remember Realistic from what was that? It was a shit store.
Radio Shack.
Yeah. And it was what was it? It was Tech something. The brand.
Yeah.
And it had like a little dial on it, so you could it could be be there, but punk band, doing fast, and then you're trying to sing. I was in, and then you're trying to follow it with so you're singing with your
But
Night.
was China Drum a band that did that?
Yeah,
that was the drummer singer.
Yeah,
But he had an overhead mic.
Yeah, but I love bands like that. Snuff,
Mhm.
you know, Duncan, you know, he's a great singer and great drummer. And they're actually from the same town, from Sunderland,
Oh, yeah.
England. So a lot of, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of those bands, you know,
Yeah,
drummer
Leatherface too.
singers, yeah.
Well, not drummer singers, but they're from Sunderland, right?
Yeah.
Future Heads, you know them? They're from Sunderland.
Really?
Have you ever heard them?
I've heard of the band.
They're really good. They're like a post-punk.
Guns and Wankers.
Guns and Wankers.
Hootin' Three Car, another brilliant band. They're from Sunderland. And all my favorite bands, like,
Cool.
you know, are from Sunderland, England, and Canada, you know.
Yep. I actually heard Doughboys well, I had known of Doughboys, but I don't think I owned anything. And then I definitely not heard that band, Asexuals. But when Pretty Flowers went up to the Golden Bull in Oakland, which Jason from
Jason
Sam I
Bebout,
Am
yeah.
Jason Bebout owns or was working was running
Yeah.
at the time. Right, we played with Sam I Am. We opened for them right before COVID, I think in January 2020, late January 2020. And we were hanging out after everything, everyone had kind of cleared out, and he had a playlist going, and I heard the Asexuals for the first time, and heard some other Doughboy stuff that I hadn't heard, and I was just like, oh, this band is amazing, so good.
Oh yeah.
I heard Dish, I think, for the first time there.
Really? Yeah. We played there 3 times at the Golden Bowl, and every time, you know, Jason, I was told, yeah, Jason's gonna be there tonight. And you know, I've hung out with the guy, you know, a few times, but I've never played with him. So I was always, you know, like, I know he knows who I am because I've always, you know, people have always told me, oh, you got to hear this band because he sounds kind of like you, and all 3 of those shows, no. Fucking no call, no show. The last time, fucking Lewis had a bunch of pictures from like '92. I was going through chemo at the time, and we saw him in a basement at Cell 63.
Yeah.
Here in the valley, and Lewis took a bunch of pictures, and he took them for Jason because he was supposed to be there. Fucking cunt didn't even show up, man.
Yeah, you gotta play with Sam I Am. That's how you get him there.
Yeah, I'm jealous because you played with them. I know Walls played with them.
We were actually going to play with them a second time, and we had booked a show with our friends Some Gifts. We were doing a tour.
Oh, those guys are cool.
They're great. Yeah, Vic is amazing. All those guys are great. And we like had booked a gig at Golden Bull. I think it was a Saturday, and then like a few weeks before the show, Jason messaged us and he goes, "Hey, would you mind if we turn this into a Sam I Am show and you guys opened?" I'm like, "No, not at all." And we were up there. We were so excited to do it, and like we're tripping around Berkeley earlier that day, and we had just gone to Amoeba. Like we were just like all excited about the show, and Jason calls like it was like 3:30 or 4 or something, and he's like, "I have COVID. I can't do it." And he's like, "You guys can still play the show. And you guys can still play the show, but we gotta offer people like to refund their tickets." I was like, "Oh yeah, of course." And then there was like 5 people there for the show on a Saturday night when it happened. It was such a fucking bummer. So
I've never gotten a chance with Doughboys. One of my best friends, he lives in New Mexico, and he and I are huge Doughboys fan, and we always, you know, said, you know, if they ever get back together, it doesn't matter where in the world they're playing, we're going. And then we heard they're opening for Foo Fighters. Oh, yeah. This is like 10 years ago, you know, and Dave Grohl paid him some good money to get back together and open up because he's a huge Doughboys fan as well.
Wow.
And like, Canada, well, we can't go because we're both felons. You know? Can't get into Canada. I guess that's out. But I wanted to sneak in somehow, you know, get in there. And
where did they play?
Montreal.
Oh, Montreal.
Yeah. And they played 2 warm-up shows, and then, you know, they did the big show opening up for Foo Fighters.
I just met Dave Grohl a few weeks ago at a friend's party.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he's a super sweet guy. They his barbecue company was doing was like catering this party, and Dave was there, and I think he was donating. I don't know the circumstances, but he was catering the party with his barbecue company. And Dave was just walking around. I talked to him and gave him our LP, which was really cool. And I didn't see it in the trash at the end of the party, so that was a good sign.
The first time I met Dave, we were at a bar and was talking to him. Actually, the second time I many years ago I met him, but this time we were at a bar and I was sitting, outside. And he came out and he asked me for a cigarette, and I gave him one. We started talking, and he's like, yeah, we've met together, a couple of my mutual friends and blah blah blah. And I go, but I know you're a huge Doughboys fan. And he goes, yeah. How'd you know that? I go, come on, dude, listen to your band. you tell me you didn't steal your sound from the fucking Doughboys. Hey. Same here, man. Every band I'm in, I got that Doughboys influence. And we started talking about that, and I think I've been into a guy. I go, dude, the only reason I respect you, I said it that way, and he's like, what? Well, the only reason you respect me is because of what? Because you got the Doughboys back then. He goes, okay, I'll take that. He thought it was going to be your music, your drumming, drumming, blah blah blah. No,
Nirvana.
You got fucking the Doughboys to actually get back together.
That's a big accomplishment.
And he paid them to do it, but they did it.
That's great.
They were uncomfortable doing it. You could tell there's still that animosity between the guys.
I don't know that much about their history,
but you could tell that the money was like, it was good. The money was good for 3 shows.
Damn. Yeah, on our label, the band The Low Sixes is on Forge again, and there's a Doughboys connection there. I can't remember who's The Low Sixes.
I've heard of the band, but
yeah, there's I can't remember who from the Doughboys is in the band, but there's a connection there.
Scott McCullough,
maybe. Yeah, I think so actually.
Yeah, I'm starting to.
Was he the singer?
They all were singers in the band. To me, that's why they're the punk rock Beatles. Because everybody sang, and especially Home Again. Everybody sang on that record, and at least one song, lead, and their harmonies were just phenomenal. Like to me, like that's like if you can be in a band and pull off the harmonies on your record live, fuck, dude. Like,
yeah, it's hard to do.
To me, that affects me more than just listening to music and then having a singer sing. A band could be great, but you add the element with harmonies, and it's just like, oh wow, this is killer. There's been a couple of times in my career where in some bands I've been able to have backup singers, singing, but sometimes it's like, okay, bro, I'm sorry, but you gotta stop. I know you're trying, but it's not sounding good. You definitely don't have an ear for it, because I think you'd agree. Harmonies are not easy, but it's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for me. I mean, it's like I don't have very much. I don't really have musical training, but like, and I haven't really like sat and worked out like why harmonies work or what I've never been in a barbershop quartet, but I kind of sing how I sing, and then I love hearing how the other guys kind of work around it and make it work.
So on your records, do your other members sing?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or I mean, there's some matching stuff, but yeah, they're doing harmonies.
When we did the Foreclosure record, the Cliffside Serenades album, I recorded all the lead vocals at the studio, in Reading or Redlands, out there by where
with Maria.
Yeah, okay. And then I took all the vocals and the music back to my studio,
and you did the harmonies.
And I did all the harmonies, all the backing vocals, and I sent everything to Wall.
Yeah.
so that he could mix it. He's like, "What the fuck, dude? Like 48 tracks of vocals?
Wow.
What are you doing to me here?" I was like, "Yeah, well, everything's got a double or a triple or quadruple, just because this is how I hear it." And
Yeah.
had to describe shit to him. And he goes, "So you're not gonna let anybody else sing on this?" No. And Mark, it's like, "Dude, it's my label, and I want to sing on the record," And I was like, "No, you don't get to do that. No, you can do it live all you want, but like, it's just quicker for me to do it." Because I've been in some bands where you spend 10 hours doing vocals and then, one part, "Dude, I want to sing that part." All right, go for it. And then, dude, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like,
we did paint ourselves a little bit into a corner with some of the vocal stuff, because we do have three different women singing backup vocals on like 5 of the songs. So some of them are more, they're all apparent, they're all there, but they're not all totally necessary live. But there are some hooks and stuff that are like, we want to like kind of replicate, because it feels like when we were playing songs and it was like just me or whatever, something was missing from like what you were hearing on the record. And so there's some vocals that the guys try and replicate in how they can.
All right, so you're in the Pretty Flowers. How did you get into Junior Juggernaut? Because you've been in the band for a while now, right?
Yeah, and they're a pretty low commitment band. But like Mike, I really like Mike's songs, and I think there was a time when our first album came out in 2018. I think K-Rock was doing Locals Only, the Locals Only show on Sunday nights, and I think all of our singles were like being played on Locals Only every week, and we were really big, like getting people to vote and do this thing so we could hear our music on there. And then I think so we were on there we were on there. For like a bunch of months, we were like straight. We were on our different singles were on Locals Only, and with Kat Corbett when she used to be at K-Rock. And then I think it was around Christmas or something, Junior Juggernaut put out the Christmas song.
Yeah.
And so we were just kind of on the, like, whatever song of ours was being played was like top 5. And then the Junior Juggernaut song was top 5. And so we were just like aware of each other. And I think Mike might've gotten in touch with me because he was just like, oh, another, like, it was kind of seldom that there would be another good band like on that show, because it would just be like really pop, just like really bad pop, be like super pop, like just commercial crap, like sounding stuff. And then it would be like us being like loud guitar rock, and then Junior Juggernaut being loud guitar rock. And so I think Mike I think he knew my friend Jeremy, and I think maybe we got in touch through that, but he's just like, he's just like, do you want to do this like very non-committal thing of just like playing a show every once in a while? And I kind of missed playing bass a little bit from playing in Henry Clay People. And like, I like my bass, I can, when I'm in Pretty Flowers, it's like, I feel like there's a lot of attention, like there's a lot of pressure to not fuck up, like on, like, because I have to remember lyrics, I've got to remember how to play stuff, my fingers have to work correctly, and so there's a lot of stuff, and it's like I also feel like very like tied to the microphone when in Pretty Flowers. Like I have kind of a lot of lyrics, and so it's like I'm always just like right at the microphone, and it's not that often that I'm able to like step back and kind of just like either like play guitar or whatever. There's not a lot of pauses. So Junior Juggernaut, allows me to just like play bass, like, and if I fuck up, I don't care that much. You
can't hear if you fuck up when you can play with Mike.
Yeah. So it's like, but I like Mike's songs a lot, and I get to play bass kind of like how I like to play, how I like hearing bass, and Mike doesn't have a lot of like, there's a lot of like passing notes and a lot of like, kind of like Chris Bauermeister, Jawbreaker kind of like stuff that I like playing that I don't really hear in Pretty Flowers, but I like playing, and it's so I get to kind of do that stuff, and Mike doesn't really have any like. I kind of fill in a lot. I think I fill in a lot of the gaps because as a trio. I mean, it's like there's a lot of space. Like even though Mike is super fucking loud, there's still space, and it's like and it's fun, you know, like just like playing against Wall, you know, or with Wall.
The last time I saw you guys was at Harvard and Stone a couple of weeks ago.
Almost hit my head 100 times.
And on that fucking beam, yeah. I was listening, to you guys, and at some point I went and I got myself a drink, and then I was walking back, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go up behind and then go to my seat, and because I always like when I'm watching my friends band, I want to be close. So I went up and around, but when I got to the back, I was just like, wow, like Mike's not loud today. Like I can hear his vocal, like I can hear your harmony, I can hear Wall's harmonies, and I was like, man, that was so cool. And at the end of the night, I wanted to tell him that, and I was like, I don't want to burst his bubble. Like, oh, yeah, you finally learned, buddy.
You turned down a little bit.
But okay, I got to go back now.
Yeah,
the Pretty Flowers. Where does the name come from?
Let's see. So when I was up in Seattle, I was working at this like photography studio. It's like a small chain, like a Seattle-based studio, and they would do like family portraits, and they would also do yearbook photos and shit.
Okay.
So we would like go around and do yearbook photos, like at high schools and like junior highs and stuff around the Seattle area. It was a super fun job, but that I was also working in the lab, processing photos and stuff, and I just met a lot of cool people, and one of these guys that I met was Matt Hanran, who turned me on to just like some really great stuff that I had never heard. Like Silver Jews was a band that I remember he told me about.
What were they called?
The Silver Jews.
Jews?
Silver Jews.
I love the band already.
No, yeah, it's like it just means like an older Jew, like a silver Jew. But you should check them out. They're one David Berman was just one of the most amazing songwriters, and there's a Pavement connection to Silver Jews, but Neutral Milk Hotel, Smog, like a lot of these like real kind of folky indie bands, 90s guys that I just was not really turned on to before. Daniel Johnston too, actually. But he had this tape, this cassette. We would like, when we were doing film processing, we would like bring in mixtapes or whatever, or CDs. And I remember I had like the Replacements, All for Nothing, Nothing for All, just would play that all the comp would play that all the time. And like there was a Pixies comp that I played all the time. And Matt gave me this cassette of like one of his bands, and then on the other side was another band. But his band was called Learning to Holler, which I always thought was like this really great name for a band. And then there was another band, like just like a home demo called of his friend's band, this guy Andy Zee, and his band was called The Pretty Flowers. And I was like, that is the best, lamest band name. I like love just like how just unabashedly kind of like flower, like just like foofy it is. I don't know, and I'm just like it's just like hippie sounding, but it's kind of like it's just not tough at all. And I was like, is this guy is he still doing this band? Is this like a band? And he's like, I think he just like wrote like 2 songs for it and like had the name. And I was like, if I start a band, I was like, can I ask him? I think I asked him permission before I even like started a band. I was like, or else it was like years later when I was just like, I remembered who it was, and I asked him. I like wrote to him. I was like, Andy, can I? Are you still using this band name? And can I use it? Can I take this from you? And he goes, you have my permission. You can use this name, but you have to send me every release you ever put out. And so I have kept that promise, except for this one yet, because I have not been in touch with him for a long time. But every release I've sent him up until this record, which I will send him eventually. But
did that just pop into your mind? Like,
yeah,
oh, shit,
it did. But yeah, so Andy gave me the name to use, and then I found out years later that the Pretty Flowers was some of the people from Teenage Fan Club and the Vaselines were in a band called the Pretty Flowers in Scotland, but they never recorded anything. So I feel like I and then there was another band that was like always in cutout bins. They were called just Pretty Flowers, and I think they released like an EP. They were like they were like some major label band, but we've been around longer than anybody else. So I think the name is ours for hopefully forever.
when we started this, Lewis and I started Foreclosure.
Uh-huh.
We went on social media. We're like, all right, let's see if there's another band.
Yeah.
There was a band called Foreclosure with an E, all one word,
Uh-huh.
like foreclose on a house or whatever. And then there was one that was, Lewis was like, well, that's not ours. It's just, we're doing this Foreclosure. And I was like, okay, cool. So we looked that up, and there was, I think they were from back east, maybe Florida or something, but it was a kid band, and they were Foreclosure. And I was just like, well, this kind of sucks because I don't want to, copy their name. So we started looking deep into them. They never released anything.
Yeah.
They were, active during like the beginning of COVID, and I think COVID just shit the band, So I was like, fuck it. And then after we recorded the record, I remember I sent the band a message. Hey, man, we have an actual legitimate record. So if you guys ever get back together, you better watch yourself. Kind of, got a little bit of a tough guy with a law degree. Kind of like, they never answered or anything.
Yeah.
So
there's also there's a band called Pretty Flowers that comes up on Bands in Town, I think.
Okay.
But they're from like New Hampshire, and I don't think they ever recorded anything. And I think, I mean, they're not a band anymore, but we still, like, promoters will sometimes just find their band first, and then like add us to, or they will add that band to a show or something. And I'm just like, always have to go in and change it. But I did reach out to them, and I'm like, this band has not been active for a good 12 years. Like, they, can you like not like get rid of it, but can you just like make it inactive or something? And they're just like, we can make it so the band is not, it shows that they're not touring, and so they're not active. So your band that is active will show up first, and hopefully they'll see that. So we have to, on like Bands in Town, we have to be the Pretty Flowers (LA). But
that's, I think, why Wall and Lewis did that too for us. Like, Foreclosure LA. Mark maybe was part of that. I was just like, I don't give a fuck. I'll fight anybody for a name. I'll go down for the band. If Paul was here, one of his top questions is like, are you a gearhead? Like, for guitar? With the Pretty Flowers, like, you have a certain sound, so does that come from your gear?
Yeah, I'm not a super big gearhead. I had an amp I had an AC-15 that I had for like a decade that I loved, and I still love the sound of it, but I was just like, I want just like something fresh and something just a little more fun. And I wound up getting for an amp, I got an Orange Rocker 32, which is just like going from a 15-watt amp to a 30-watt amp. It was a lot of fun. It's got a really good sound to it, kind of a British, like, British orange sound. I mean, I guess the Vox AC-15 has that too, but it's a different kind of sound. But for me, it just like, I really love the sound of it, and it's got an effects loop that I put like an echo pedal into it, It's kind of an always on thing. I like echo, and I like
As do I.
yeah, and delay, but it's not like super washy. It's just like kind of there. I always liked having reverb on my AC-15. I would always have the reverb up, but there's nothing on the orange amp. There's no effect built into it. So that's my like onboard effect. That's like always on. Is like the is the echo pedal. And yeah, I don't have like, I'm not like married to like any of my pedals. I have kind of a sound that I just kind of like, I like what I hear, but I'm not like super crazy about stuff. Like I will buy a fucking $25 pedal, like a phaser pedal, and use that. I don't need to get like a fucking $250 pedal. Like I don't need the Klon Centaur. But I mean, I have I like effects. I don't like overdoing it. Like I'm not like, I like shoegaze and stuff, but I also, what I don't like about shoegaze is just stuff that is just so washed out, and vocals are just so washed out that you can't you can't discern like anything. You can't like hear any lyrics or whatever, or it's like, and the guitar is just so washy. It's just like not super fun. I mean, I say that, but I do love My Bloody Valentine and stuff. But a lot of the new school like effects, the new school like shoegazy bands, I'm just like, I'm not super into it. But yeah,
there was a producer that we used once, and I was like, yeah, can I get some more reverb on the vocals and this and that? And maybe the guitar could use a little bit of, you know, this, that. And he's like, you like shit really wet, don't you? And I was like, that was the first time I'd ever heard wet. You know, wet.
Yeah.
You know, this is dry. You know, yeah, like, yeah, that's just me. And he goes, this is wet. And I'm like, yeah, I like it wet. Yeah, that's. And I remember I recorded a demo. And I said to him, okay, this is going to be the next track we're going to work on. He's like, dude, what are you, drowning now? Jesus Christ, turn down the fucking, you know, the fucking reverb and delays on this. And with Junior Juggernaut, your bass, what's that rig like?
It's actually Mike got the bass because I did not have, or he got the amp. I think it's just an amp. It's like a vintage Ampeg head, and like 410s. But I got rid of my bit, but like I had stopped playing bass, and I didn't have room to keep in my old Ampeg head. And I think I sold it. It was like not working, and I didn't want to get it fixed, and I just like sold it like as is for like $75 to someone on Craigslist. But I didn't have I did have like a small bass cab that Sam has and uses sometimes. But I just told Mike, I was like, I'm not investing in this band at all. Like I had my bass, I had my Fender P bass that I had in Henry Clay People. I got that reset up, and like Mike, he's just like, he wanted to kind of have the sound for Junior Juggernaut, and I was like, if you're buying this, like do it. Like
you're buying, I'm flying.
Yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, for Junior Juggernaut, and I don't have any pedals for that. I just have a tuner and like just kind of crank it and kind of get a good sound.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you would have to have Mike, you know, use a bass rig, and it has to be his, because it's like, well, fuck, you're not even, you can't even hear me anyway.
And he loads it in the car, brings it to shows and stuff, and I'm just like, it's a pretty good gig for me. I don't have to do a lot of lifting.
Just show up. Yeah. All right. Can you tune that shit for me too? If I knew how to tune a guitar, I bet you, like, the bands that I'm in would have me do that.
Do you not play guitar at all?
No.
Really?
No. I wanted to learn when I was a teenager, but obviously drums were like, I want to be a drummer. I had one piano lesson. My neighbor gave me one lesson, and I was playing baseball, and a couple of guys from my team came by and they saw me through the window playing, and they started making fun of me, and it really affected me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was like, I don't want
That's
to
too
play
bad.
piano.
Killed it.
Yeah, I
Killed it
wish
for
I
you.
would. I wish that wouldn't
Yeah.
have happened. Guitar, you know, again, like when I was really young, I wanted to, but it just didn't. When the
You got a really good voice, and like I know that, like I don't know if you know like music theory and stuff like that at all, but like I would imagine playing guitar and singing, like you'd make some kind of connection where the notes would make a lot of sense because you like in your head, you know how to go from note to note and like the variation, like if it's like 3 steps to this note, you can feel it, like, or 2 steps to the to a note below it, you can feel it, and it's like I feel like you could play guitar and you would have kind of an innate understanding of like how the notes work.
One of the reasons I love, you know, singing for Wormwood is that Johnny, like, he plays chicken picking. You know, he's very chordy, plays with his fingers a lot, and, you know, just one of the most phenomenal guitar players. So to sing to his, you know, music, it's just, it's so simple for me because he's so chordy and using so many notes that it allows me to, you know, almost pick and choose.
Just learn some cowboy chords. I bet you could like.
You could do it again. Like when the pandemic started, my friend Colin, who's actually going to be on next week from the Samoans, he works at Schecter Guitars, and I went in like, you know, that first week when everything got shut down, and I was like, oh well, I'm not touring anymore. I'm not going to be playing shows for a while, so it's going to be all recordings, and you know, and what else can I do? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking learn how to play drums properly.
Yeah.
You know, and learn how to play with my fingers. So I got my practice pad out.
Yep.
I did that for 2 days, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit. I can't do it. I'm a wrist, you know, I play with my wrist, and that's it. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And then I go down to Schecter, and he gives me a guitar. And in my head, and physically, like if I'm like, oh dude, I love that song, you know, it's like, oh, you play lefty? If I'm gonna play guitar, I think I'd be a lefty, you know. So he gives me a left-handed guitar, and you know, I can do power chords, you know, right-handed, and like if I'm trying to find a note, maybe sometimes I can find it. But for some reason, when you know, I could do a lot more with these fingers, and you're like, oh wow, I think I could play, you know, you
might be a left-handed guitar player.
So I downloaded some app where some guy, you know, you do these exercises or whatever the fuck, and he actually can see what your progress is, like how many minutes you actually did it and all that. And he sent me a fucking email like you're doing 15 minutes a week, you know, you're supposed to be like doing 15 minutes a day, you know, and then you start going up. It's like exercise. I'm like, dude, have you seen photos of me? I do not exercise, so this is not. It's not fun. Like I wish it was just you could take a pill or get a shot, and oh yeah, I can play guitar. Yeah, but to learn something new, it's just it didn't happen. I wasted that whole year of COVID. Did not learn anything new. You know, I wrote a few good records for an Australian band, but that was about it. You know, but I don't know. What do you guys got coming up? Like, you know, tours?
We're doing a tour. So we just had our record release show at a place called Healing Force of the Universe in Pasadena. We sold it out. It was a really fun night. And that was Friday night. And then coming up, we're hitting San Diego. We're playing Kensington Club.
Oh,
do we play together at Junior Juggernaut there?
I think so. That was the night we played.
That was with Tigers in Cairo, right?
Yeah, Tigers in Cairo and
you guys.
Tiltwheel, yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be the next time. That's Saturday. We're playing with a band called Rookie Card and Billy Shaddix, I think. So yeah, that'll be really fun. And then the following week, we're headed up to San Francisco Bay Area. We're playing Thursday night. We're playing El Cerrito at a place called Little Hill. And then we're playing in Petaluma on Friday night. And then Saturday night, we're playing Merced, the Partisan.
Oh, that's a great place.
I've never been there.
That's a great place.
We're looking forward
to it. Who are
you
playing with there?
a band from Oakland called Bitter Loa, and then you should check them out. They're really good. And a band I think from around the Merced area called Sloom, Sloome. They're kind of a heavier, like more, I guess, more shoegazy kind of band. They're great. And then Sunday night we're playing at the Knockout in San Francisco, which we've played before, but we're playing with a band called the Gizz, who are just really amazing power pop band. And I think they're called not True Believer. It's I can't remember who else, but the Gizz. We're playing with the Gizz, and that's an early show. Sunday night, and then we come back, and we have some other stuff that we're not announced yet, but yeah.
Merced, you're gonna have a lot of fun.
Cool.
Right next to that venue, there's a record store, and
Uh-huh.
really cool. Like for me, Wall and I think me and Steve-O and Wall, I think, walked in, and we're talking to the guy, and he's a younger guy, owns the place, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna go check you guys out." And the counter has all these flyers, and I'm looking, like, look at that. Dr. No. Oh, look at that. The Freeze. Look at that. Bad Town.
It's all your
Boys.
old band.
Yeah, like all of these flyers. I wasn't in a band at the time, but I was in those bands. And it was
were they
so,
old
like,
ass flyers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the actual flyers, glued,
Uh-huh.
and shellacked on there. So, but it was like, oh, dude. There was the time we played with All at Edge in Fullerton. And that flyer was on them. I was like, that's so weird and so random. Here, Central
Where'd you play
California.
in Fullerton?
Goodies.
I don't know. I've never been there.
This was back in '93.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You weren't even born then. Jeez.
It's probably in middle school.
So, do you guys have a website, and where can people get in contact?
Theprettyflowers.net.
Net.
Yeah, .net. When I got I put the website on, it was not available, but I think since then it's become available, but I still kept the net. I feel like I'm a .net guy.
You could have gone to prettyflowersla.com.
Yeah, that's true. We have prettyflowers.net. We have a Substack called Agenda List that we put out, newsletters every once in a while, and you can if you want to find us, you can find us.
And obviously, Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. Yeah, and our label is Forge Again Records out of Chicago.
Is that where they're?
Yeah,
is that where they're from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a kind of the mastering was done in Chicago. The pressing plant was Chicago. It's called Smash Plastic, and printing was Chicago too. So
that's so cool. They did vinyl and CD, huh?
Yeah, we did. We had
a legitimate label. Yeah, fucking our label, Mind Power Records. They won't do CDs. Yeah, they won't even do vinyl, motherfuckers. Gotta have a whole album. They won't do 7 inches. You guys ever done 7 inches and all that?
Yeah, we did. We've got a couple. We did a split 7-inch early on, and then our first release was a 3-song EP. Yeah. We covered. You like J Church?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we covered J Church song Panama on our first release. We've vinyl is really important to us.
To me, again, we talked about, how touring, that's to me, I think that's an important part of being in a band. You have to tour. You have to leave your comfort zone. Again, there's no success without, going and playing in front of a legitimate crowd who has no fucking idea who you are.
Yeah, trying to win some people over.
I've been lucky because a lot of the bands that I've been in kind of follow me, and we do interviews, and a little publicity stuff before it. And I'm a huge, if we're going to go on tour, I want to make sure that these people know that, some of us have been in some bands, come check us out, and it does help. I when we did the run with you guys and, a couple of other runs that we've done, who's the guy was in UK Subs? Like, you're the Mexican? Really? You're the one in UK Subs? How do you do that? But, and you got this album just came out on Friday, right?
Yeah, just came out Friday.
And
12 songs, 50 minutes.
You can pick this up online and in stores already.
Yeah, you should. It's Cobra Side Distro, so it should have.
John Cashman, Doughboys.
Oh yeah.
So
got to get him to promote it a little bit.
good luck. So you just said your next show's when?
Sunday. Or sorry, Saturday,
Saturday?
at Kensington Club. This Saturday.
God, San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
Maybe if I get a wild hair up my butt, I might drive all the way down there because I love that place.
You know what? Actually, one more show we're playing on a Saturday after our Bay Area run. We're playing in Ojai with a band called the Spires from Ventura. A really amazing band. We've played a bunch of shows with them, and it's at the Ojai Deer Lodge, which is a super fun place way out
in the boonies.
Way out in the boonies. It's like a roadhouse. Really good food, good bar.
And the banjos as you're driving through.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh God, and the frogs.
Pretty much.
Anything else you can think about? You want to?
No, that's it.
Tell everybody. Oh.
Get the record, listen to it, stream it, do whatever you want to do.
Let's see. When you got here, like about an hour. Cool. We've been an hour and a half. See how it just goes?
It goes.
It just goes, man. Well, thank you for coming in. And I think it was this is the greatest episode that we've done in 3 years because he wasn't here to fuck it up. Yeah.
Paul. Paul is not here, but my buddy Jeff Electric wanted me to say hi and tell Paul that we know him and that I was supposed to tell Paul that he needs to cook me dinner because I've heard he's a really good cook.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
If you like parasites and food poisoning, yeah, Paul's your guy. All right, man. Again, thank you for coming in, man. I fucking
Gizz, thank you.
Nothing but respect. I love you. I look forward to sharing that stage with you. I've always had nothing but fun, and
awesome.
We've toured together, so
we have.
I know you're easy to get along with. Cool. And I hope to play some more shows soon.
Yep.
So, all right, people, that's our time. You know what you should do? Come back next Monday. We'll have Colin definitely from the Angry Simones, and from what I understand, he's a dear friend of mine. I married him and his wife, 6 years ago, and I just found out online, not even from his fucking mouth, he played bass for the Addicts now.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, motherfucker, I'm gonna fucking kick his ass next week. So he'll be here next week, and again, you know what you do. Come back every Monday, 7:00 here on YouTube, and drink a beer and get stupid. All right. Cheers.
Sweet. It was a lot of fun, man.